Hello, my name is Eric Paetkau, and I am the music director of the Saskatoon Symphony Orchestra. One of Beethoven's most famous musical moments is the second movement from his 7th symphony, simply titled Allegretto. Like many of other Beethoven's famous melodies or moments that people recognize, it's quite simple. Take, for instance, Beethoven's 9th symphony, the 4th movement, Ode to Joy. No, 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 no. Very simple. Or even his 3rd symphony, the last movement. Bom, 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 bom. Those are very simple melodies that Beethoven turns into these extreme masterpieces. And the Allegretto from the 7th symphony, the movement we're talking about now, is actually even simpler, and he turns it into something even more extraordinary. What he does here is what is often done in pop music, where he'll start with something very simple, just a harmonic progression, and then keep adding layer after layer. It begins in A minor, while the whole movement is swaps between A minor and A major, but the opening is a very simple chord. Now you hear this in the winds and the brass, and I say simple, but there's something a bit odd about it. You have a normal A minor chord, but the low note is the E, so it's very unstable. It's in a second inversion for those of you who are harmonically inclined. And so there's something a bit unusual and unstable about it. And then he brings in the low strings. And just hear what the bass has right at the beginning. Very simple harmonic structure. And you think, oh, you can have a beautiful melody above that. But listen to what the cello does. And the viola. One note. And so put together, it's a very simple So it's very simple, and this goes on for a little bit. And then when the second violins join, you think, oh, finally, we get this exquisite melody. But no, the second violins do what the viola did before, that simple one-note theme. And the violas and the cello get the melody then. And when we hear at the end, we're going to put it all together so you'll hear the full orchestral thing. Now, often when critics and commentators talk about music and write about it, they infer all of this meaning into a piece. And this was very common in the 1800s, and especially with Beethoven's work. And so a lot of commentators had all of these elaborate programs for specifically this movement. About, it was war, good and evil, la la la. And Beethoven thought this was all hogwash. He simply wrote a piece of music or a movement that was very true to the way Beethoven did things, and which obviously has endured the test of time. And one last thing about the actual tempo, Allegretto. This is a movement that is obviously steeped in history for over 200 years. And over the decades and centuries, it has grown into something of a bit of a lament, which it was played quite slowly and very almost funeral-like. But he clearly marked it Allegretto, and Allegretto means a little lively. And so in the last couple of decades, conductors and orchestras have moved the tempo up a bit quicker, and therein lies this beautiful spot where it's not too fast and not too slow. So there's still the profundity of the music without letting it get too sentimental. And here's the beginning of the movement in all of its orchestral beauty.